Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Campus Care Ed Talks. Ed Talks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. Our topic for the discussion is how can children differentiate between good touch and bad touch? And to express their viewpoints on the same topic, we have Mrs. Smitha Kurup, Principal of JSS Public School, Mysore, and Mr. P. Sudhakar, Senior Principal of TMAES DAVV Public School, Karnataka. Before moving forward, let me introduce you to what Entab is. Entab is a 22-year young IT company associated with It is a 22-year young IT company associated with premium schools across India that help them to evolve and revolutionize the way of learning. We are the number one provider of high-quality futuristic ERPs, CRMs, and mobile apps for school, students, and teachers. A very warm welcome, our dignitaries. So good to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you, for taking your precious time with us. Let's start off with our very first question. Over to you, Sudhakar sir. Why it is important to teach children good touch and bad touch?
Yeah. Let me thank Entab for giving a chance to be on this book. And I am morning ma'am from JSS Principal.
Morning.
Yeah. So I feel the children should know what is a good touch and what is a bad touch, because it is like when now the days are so busy, the parents are not in such a stage to to be back at every moment. So the child should be taught, made him to train about what is a good touch, what is a bad touch, and particularly before they enter into their senses to know about this. We as a parent or as in a school heads or as school teachers, they have to make a difference between what is a good touch and a bad touch and make them to understand here is what. Means generally good touch is safe to touch. When say a mom's hug, a father's kiss, and a teacher's shaking hand, patting on the back, or anything. But whereas when you go for a bad touch, it is unsafe, and what you call you feel a little bit of irritated when you have been on that. Particularly, when we give them that this is how, and then they restrict somebody trying to give a bad touch also. They can say no, this is not absolutely correct, and we have to make a little difference. Once the child is able to, then people who are making a such kind of touch will make their senses that the boy or the girl knows better what it is. Hence, it is better to keep ourselves in a premium position and talk to them in an appropriate manner. So the day has been more and more busy with our life because it's so competitive, so thrill, anything. So I feel that is a good touch is not means which we like it, which we welcome when somebody does it.
Yes.
But when it is a bad touch, when it is not been welcome, it is an unwelcome position, an unwelcome touch. So then there the child that is more important to learn about and make it up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening your views on this. Ma'am, I'd like to move forward with you. I have a second question. The question is
Yes.
why good and bad touch is important. Can you please give your views on this?
Sure. I thank the Entab team for having me here to speak on this topic.
It's our pleasure, ma'am.
Now, yeah, in today's times, we hear a lot of child abuse, incidents of child abuse, molestation, and it's high time we start teaching young children about good touch. Sensitize, actually teaching, I would rather use the term sensitizing our children about the good touch and so that we help them prevent from any damage. So most of the times the targets are the young children, and it is children between 2 to, surprisingly, from the age of 2 to 7 years of the age, this age group are more targeted. So and it is of vital importance that we as parents, we as educators, talk to our children about the differences between the right and wrong, appropriate and inappropriate. It is also necessary that our child knows the sexual development that takes part in its body, the sexual identity. We need to keep them, shed light on this topic actually, because most of the in Indian, the society scenario, we always take it as a taboo. There is a stigma associated with this particular topic. I mean, educating our children with this content, we always take a back step. But I think high time we need to come forward in educating our children with these kind of good touch and bad touch. That's what I can say. That is very important to prevent any more damage for our own children.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Entirely correct. I totally agree with your points, and I totally agree what exactly you said. Okay, so I just wanted to say that Sudhakar sir have some official engagements, so he'll be leaving us. We'll be moving forward with ma'am only. Sudhakar sir?
Beta,
Yes, sir. Sir, you will be with us, or like you
I'll be
mentioned
there
that.
for another 5 minutes.
Okay,
I'll
that's absolutely our pleasure to have you here. Okay, so we'll be continuing with another question. The question is 5 tips to teaching kids about good and bad touch. This question is for both of you. I'd like Sudhakar sir to say this first, and then we'll move forward with ma'am.
generally better the life starts at home. Means it is the beginning, everything from the mother. So either is a boy or a girl, he learns many things from the mother. So when it comes to what you call the bad touch or a good touch, whatever it is, slowly they understand. I mean, when they have been what you call from 2 years onwards or 1 year onwards, means 2 years onwards, it is the right time they come for the kindergarten. Then this is schools. Before to that, so the parent, whoever it is a boy or a girl, whoever it is. Now, if it is being told to both of them that this is how, means as they grow, it is more important to enlighten them about the getting near to somebody and what is the distance has to be maintained and how one has to go with it. Then what happens? That will be encircling in their mind for longer time because it's from parent. And when they come out to the teacher, there are the what you call counselors are there. There are what you call some good senior teachers who are there who try to input that this is how what it is to be done. This is how what you have to be there. So there are demarcations that what is this good touch and what is that bad touch. If they educate each child on these lines and hope so that this kind of child abuse means generally what we have seen is like 4 out of 10 are get child abused in the Indian scenarios,
Right.
and 17% of the children are not aware of what they are doing. So, hence, when they are been, particularly when the mothers are been working women, so it is what you call the prime importance for them to know about because when the child is left alone, it has to be given a care how that has to be maintained and how she has to take care of her own self and how she has to limit herself in the social movements. So what I feel is like the parent initially, then the teachers, then I think so. Nowadays we don't have the grandparents to keep them aside and educate them because now it's all what you call big family has been made into small families, and each one is running for their own welfare to do a job somewhere. If I am born in Punjab, I am coming into Karnataka now. If I am born in Karnataka, I'm going to somewhere in Uttar Pradesh.
Right.
So that is not possible at all. So what I personally feel is educating by the parent is prime important. That this is what it has to be given for both. It's not only for girls; it is for both. So I feel that has to be taken care.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely correct. I totally agree with you. Ma'am, can you please enlighten us on this topic that why good touch and bad touch are important?
Um, can you please repeat the question, ma'am?
Ma'am, it is the entirely same question that we had with her. I'll just repeat it. The question is why good touch and bad touch is important.
See, the importance, see, I don't know how importance is the word actually here to be used. I just have to say there is good touch is most of the times mother hugging, or the father's goodnight kiss, your friend holding your hand, okay, the caress of the grandparents are what we term as good touch. And bad touch is any of these touches. It doesn't mean that bad touch is always a touch to a child's private part. It can be any of this touch. It can be a hug from one of your trusted family member. But if the child is not okay with, if the child is not comfortable with, if the child is confused with the same good touch that the parents are giving, if anybody else is doing, then that is bad touch. There is nothing called this is a bad touch. A good touch which the child gets from the parents. The same thing if it is from some other family member, and if the child is a little scary about, a little uncomfortable with, then that is good. That is bad touch for the child, because even as parents, we also have to give that freedom to the child to say no. See, usually what happens when somebody comes to a family, when guests come to a family, you often tell our children, please go give a tight hug to your chacha,
Yes.
your chachi, your uncle. Maybe that is not right actually. Is your child ready to do it? Or you can always give an option. You can go, why don't you give a hug to your uncle, or at least give a high five? Give an option. So that's how we parents have to do it. Otherwise, asking our children or forcing our children, to accept this kind of touches, or in front of all the family members, we are asking them to go hug, or even feeling okay if somebody comes and hugs. We never think of how the child is feeling comfortable with. We need to sensitize children as to what is good touch and bad touch. I understand, but at the same time, even a good touch, if the child is not comfortable with, the child can always say no. So as parents, we need to, or educators, we need to make our child bold and strong enough to voice a concern, or say no to any of these touches. That's what is the most important, importance of making the child aware of good touch and bad touch.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. It is very important for a child to stay aware about all these things. Let's move on to our next question. The next question is, what are the 5 tips to teaching kids about good touch and bad touch? Sir, can you please take this forward?
You can, the ma'am will go on.
Okay,
I'll
ma'am.
just.
Okay.
See, the important, I think the first and foremost thing is parents need to use the appropriate language. Most of the times, parents do not use the words, they use the nicknames instead of using the appropriate terms or terminologies of the genitals or any private parts. Why are we doing it? Why can't we use the actual term that is being used? So, see, sooner or later, the child is going to discover the right terminology of that particular part of his or her body. Then the child should not be left with the question that why was my parent, or why did my parent actually hide this from me? So is it a wrong term to be used? So the first and foremost tip that I give to the parents is use the actual terminologies, the genital names, just like you use ears, elbows, head, and eyes, just like that. That's right. So that the child is comfortable to come and tell you that this is what that has happened to me. So that is my first tip. My second tip is whenever a child comes to you and asks a question that you feel that it is a very absurd kind of question, or don't try to snub the child, don't ignore the child, or try to giggle, laugh, or making fun of, or trying to, you just don't want to answer and you just ignore. Never do that. Okay, you have to welcome the question and make the child understand in her own way. Make it in a playful method of learning. Let it be a playful method and make the child aware of what is, give answers to the child instead of snubbing away the child. That's my mistake. You always do not force affection, as I have already told in my last question. Do not force affection. Like you yourself also do not go and always try to win your child, or trying somebody else. Or I told you, when somebody come to your house, you asking your child to go and win them. You never know what happens behind the curtain. So always try to give options to express affections. So that is my another tip. And make the child aware of what is appropriate touch, what is inappropriate touch, and what are the parts of the body that has to be covered, what is it not okay to be touched or to be seen or to be shown. All these things you need to make aware of, as teachers or as educators or as parents. These are my few tips
Okay. Sudhakar sir,
to the
would you
parents.
like to add something?
1 minute, beta.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, means the tips, actually the thing is that beta, it varies from age to age. Means, first it is a good touch practice remains the same, but as we look in, means suppose if it is a 0 to 5, then 6 to 12, then 12 to 18, from 18 to like that. There is a etiquette. So there, whatever in one it may be permitted, but it may not be permitted in another ages. So what I personally feel is the parent and the school teachers who have been handling them. Now suppose we find then jovially now what happens in the co-education institutes, the I-Fi. I-Fi is like you can do it from just from a little distance like.
Right, sir.
But now when you look in the schools and that goes beyond. So when they come across such kind of things, it is tell them that we have to little keep aside. It is all only to what you call from getting abused or getting it wrong in their brain about the things about what is been going to happen. Now suppose what happens is generally no one takes it in on the first step. It is like too many times happening. It may get into the a wrong mood or a bad touch also. So hence, if it is not been allowed initially at the first time, then what happens? What is the thought which has been there that will be going beyond left from their mind? It is better first we tell them that this is the area. So you have to tell them without any nickname. This is what it is like. This is where it is like this. You have to take care of this one. If somebody puts a hand on this or hand on that or shoulder or trying to kiss you, this is not the allowed areas. So you have to say no for it. So it is the what you call personal coaching by the parent and the teachers and the what you call seniors in the home. If they try to go on repeating, they understand it far better.
Right.
And it is all the time what you call sharing some kind of nowadays because of YouTubes and all other things. So many things are coming up. If they have a time, let them sit beside them and explain. This is what it is like. This is what it is because now technically we have been very sound now. Now even we are taking the what you call technology into the classroom. So it is the organization and even in the class, what you call schools, there should be some body which gives them a lecture on this on every what you call 3 months, quarter like, and asking them this is what it is, this is what it is like, with a picturization and all other things. Then I feel every child slowly tries to learn and try to update themselves, and they want to be away from all this kind of nonsenses what is trying to go on. And when they are now, even the government is taking so much of care but that you call police with this number, will be there within 5 minutes, like in Andhra, like in some of the states. So, in spite of that, we are seeing that sexual abuse is going on in so many areas. And when they are going, particularly in school buses, the children has to be very safe. Now, if the last child is only a girl child in the bus, when she has to be dropped, then the school principals or what you call the head of the institutes should mind for that the last child is a girl child. So there should be somebody. So he should send some coordinator to it. They have to analyze. It is not that all the time we do the only academic programming. It is self-protective program of the child is also quite important than all other things. So means I feel first giving full knowledge about the good touch and the bad touch to the child is more important. And then as a parent, they have to plan about how to give that education to the child. And the third, in the school, the teachers have to make a program every fortnight, every 1 month or something, at least 10 minutes if they speak about with the girls separately, boys separately. And then what happens? It becomes what we call knowing themselves. If I protect myself, I can protect the world. If I can't protect myself, I can't protect the world.
Absolutely.
Simple logic it is. Logic is you be safe and make the world safe.
Yes.
So once it is goes on, so when the unknown children means like the children who are not coming to school, who are been on that, there are many are there. Now because we have flat system, Sometimes we leave the child and we go away to the market or we go away to a movie or anything. But what is going to happen in these 3 hours? It is quite what you call unpredictable. So, what are the steps we have to give when we are leaving a child in the home, and when we are living at somebody's place, or when we are taking them to somebody? How to sit? How to make the what you call sitting position? What you call when you are shaking an hand, or else what you call saying a high five, everything. So that all what you call a kind of self training has to be given to every child, and then I feel the child will get absolute knowledge about herself. She protects herself or himself, and it is not only the girl I'm trying to tell about. It is both. So everyone, if they have been within their limits, no, there is no problem with anyone. So when there is no problem with anyone, the school runs with peace. Or else every fortnight we get a problem. My daughter has been teased by him, or my son has been bullied by her. These are all the things we'll be getting in school scenarios. So that only because if there are good number of well trained on the topic, or the counselors has to be given, because particularly we take at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Means the girl, the body changes, importance, all the things we try to tell them, and we give them every what you call quarter. At what age? 6th class, what is to be given? 7th, what has to be given for 8th? Because those are the stages where they change their body, and what is important of the changes in the system. We have to encourage them. We have to give them, and that makes them the good health, good citizen, and good country.
Yes, sir.
That's all better.
Absolutely. Sir, ma'am, it was an absolute pleasure to have you both here. It was an enlightening show. I really loved it. I think that we all got to know more insights about what is the difference between good touch and bad touch. And we, the entire team of Entab, we are really delighted to have you both here. It was really good having a conversation with you, ma'am, Smitha, ma'am, and P. Sudhakar, sir. It was
Thank you.
entirely our pleasure. It was a pleasure of our entire Intab team to have you. So let's wind up this session. For all the viewers watching us, it is a request to please subscribe to our channel to get more insights like this, to get to know more about these topics. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It was really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.